Okay, well, I'm just going to go through the process I've been using lately to try to come up with the renderings on a budget. We used to do this with apartment buildings, and we had designers, and they would meet us, and they would go through for me, and they'd do the measurements and give me a material list. And relative to how much we would make on the apartment buildings, it made sense to do. But on these houses, there definitely is not as much profit. So I think right now, one of the ways to be successful, one of the important things to be successful in this business is to be creative in how you spend your money. And then also by having, one of the benefits of having these renderings drawn is it helps your contractors or whoever you're working with visualize what you visualize. I have this stuff in my head, and I have pretty good design skills in my head, but unless I can show it to somebody, they're not usually able to see it. And so what happens is then I need to be on the job site all the time whenever they're doing something to look at it and to make sure they're doing it the way I need to. Now, by having renderings and pictures, this helps avoid that to some extent. So here's the process right now of doing the renderings. So what I'll do on the and this is just really lately, is we'll go through just graph paper. I mean, you can see how bad I write and how horrible this is, and we'll go through and do our measurements. And this is the kitchen, and so the place that we're doing right now, these are all windows. Here's my measurement. I just did in inches. This measurement here is where my stove is. This is the center of the sink. Okay, and then this is where the opening is. So you want to do the sinks, stoves, windows, doors, and ceiling heights. Particularly ceiling height if you are doing a 3D rendering. If you're just doing 2D, it doesn't obviously matter, but you want to take a look at your doors to know where your openings are, your windows to make sure you're not covering them. Stove, unless you plan on moving the stove, you're going to need to make sure your cabinets are going to go in the right position there, and then where your sink is. Okay, next what I do is I use Microsoft Visio to just diagram this. I can do this pretty quick. You don't have to do this, but my handwriting's so bad. This allows me to save a little bit of time going back and forth with the person doing the rendering for me in the Philippines. So if I put my measurements in here, and I can kind of play around with the floor plan a little bit to get an idea of my first draft of what I think. I put my little notes in here, opening. This is a previous project we did, so this means just to put an arch on this opening. There's a little arrow going right here, and I mentioned the same thing. We're going to open up this wall so you can see into the kitchen here. This idea actually was brought to me by one of our interns, Brad, and so this is what we're going to do. I decided right here in the kitchen to actually build walls around the refrigerator, and what this is going to do is if I have side panels on the refrigerator and a cabinet on top, it's probably about $400. I can build this in, make it look custom with drywall, and it'll cost me $100, $150 because I'm already doing a lot of drywall in the rest of the project, and it takes somebody an hour to frame this in, another couple hours of drywall while they're doing the rest of the work. In addition, we're going to have cabinets right here, and you'll see when we do the renderings, but once again, a wall here, and there's going to be a door. This isn't the exact opening, and this is why I like to get in 3D to see how it'll look, but I actually got this idea from a picture of another house, and what we're going to have here is just going to be a pantry inside here with an interior door, and what this accomplishes is saving some money on my base cabinet, which is about $300 for your blind corner that goes right here. So you got $300 there. You got about $150 for your upper cabinet. Actually, a little bit more if you get a kind of a corner upper cabinet. So I probably got about $600 in cabinets, plus my granite, probably close to $800. What this is going to do is this is going to make it easier to install. This is going to be, I have less granite I need on this place. My kitchen's big in this kitchen, so it won't affect the size of it, and it's going to look nice. So those are just some creative things to cut some costs and also kind of give a kitchen that looks a little bit different than everyone else's for the same price, and I think people appreciate that because it really is about perceived value. So back to the renderings. Okay, so here's what happened. From that, I got a rendering back from her. What I didn't specify as materials to her, I just wanted her to kind of pull this up. This took her a few hours to do, and what I said is, here are my comments for the kitchen. I said, once we get the floor plans finalized, do you feel you're capable of getting cabinet measurements off stock or stock cabinets. And what I'm asking her right here is one of the things I'm going to have her start doing is I know where I get my cabinets. Once we have her measurements, because the CAD or the Google SketchUp she uses and my Visio will give us exact measurements. And now we know what size cabinet. So we have a base, sink base cabinet of 37 inches. We know my stove is 30 inches wide by 24 inches deep. Okay. We're also going to know the measurements of the counter. So I can get bids for a lot of these items, and I can also make a materials list. So that's why I asked her if she was able to do that herself. That way I don't have to have the contractor do that. So what I demonstrated right here is I wanted these two radiuses to match. I didn't want a radius like this. I wanted something a little bit less than flat on top. So I just kind of mentioned that. I referenced another project we did. So I just go ahead and made some notes, told her that all the fixtures are going to be oil rub bronze, so she's going to put her renderings in there to do oil rub bronze. I also am going to put an island instead of table right here, so I just reference where to go to look at a picture of that. On this next screen, though, what you'll see is I call out a little bit more detail. So when I sent over the 2D drawing, she thought I just wanted smaller walls, so I didn't. I wasn't specific enough when I told her, so what I did here is I use a program called Snagit. And Snagit, it's very easy to put diagrams. I can do this in about 30 seconds. You just write on the pictures, and I just drag my arrows, and I describe that I want the walls to be 37 inches wide. That way somebody can get a 36-inch refrigerator. I want these walls to come all the way up to the top of the ceiling, and I'm going to have an opening on the top here that I may do a wine rack or something in. Once again, to save cost. She has a pretty high-end stove here. We use an entry-level stainless steel, so I wanted her to make sure we have the correct dimensions. I let her know that we're going to use an island, and I let her know here's the cabinets we're using, probably Home Depot Cognac or something similar. I like this style cabinet for this style of a house. Right here, I'm talking about the corner pantry that I wanted. And then what we do is go back and forth until we're finished. And here's another property we just bought, by the way. So this is here's the front door, right? So this is about 6 feet right here. This thing is huge. So it's very boxy, very ugly place. I can't really do a Spanish style. It just doesn't work. So what I do is I'll drive around, or I go on the MLS, or I'll go and I'll find nice areas, and I'll find properties that are fixed up, and I'll see things that I like. So in this situation, what I did is I found some properties. So hold on one second, I'll go find that. So this is the house. I just take a picture of these places. I go ahead and put a diagram in here, what I want done at horizontal boards. I said I need her to do a quick rendering. I'm not worried about making it super nice. Just wanted to see if what I'm thinking about is going to look good. Okay. I told her to give me some xeriscape. I'm not going to have any grass here, but let's just go ahead and show you what we did. So I went around, took some pictures of some places that I liked to give her some ideas, some materials. And then if you come down to the bottom, you'll see what we got. We have our first rendering right here. I asked her to put a fence up, but she didn't put the fence on the top of the hill, so I asked her to move the fence up to the top of the hill. So we moved the fence up over here. Here's a gate, and now this allows me to have a rendering for who's doing the work. There's a couple things we added. There's windows and stuff in here, but nonetheless, it gives me an idea when I hired my contractor what needed to be done, and this helped me get a bid for this project. So let me just show you last thing. So here's that picture before. You saw it afterwards, and that's it. So that's what we do to render pictures. We are using Odesk. It seems to work. I use Odesk for a lot of outsourcing. You may want to check it out too, www.odesk.com. You can get everything you can think about that doesn't take a physical body to do something, computer programs, websites, whatever. Stay up on our blog and our websites at www.gabhartinvestments.com, and let me know what you think about this video. Thanks. Bye.